Welcome home, Cojourners. I'm glad you're here for another episode. I'm Dr.Thema, licensed psychologist, ordained minister, and sacred artist, here to help facilitate your journey back home to yourself. And I am so excited for our special guest on today, Dr. Deniz Ahmadinia. Welcome, Dr. Deniz.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And you all have to know this is a full circle moment. Dr. Deniz is a graduate of Pepperdine University's doctoral program where I teach. And so what a gift to now have her in the field doing this healing work. And let me tell them more about you. Dr. Deniz is a licensed clinical psychologist, childhood sexual abuse survivor, and mother of two, whose work bridges psychology, somatic, and parts work. So soma means the body. We've talked about that in prior episodes. And intuitive energy healing. She holds a master's in marriage and family therapy from USC and a doctorate in clinical psychology from Pepperdine University. And she's an international speaker on embodied trauma healing. So you all know already why I'm such a fan, getting that body into the healing process. Through her Beverly Hills practice and online programs, which are called Heal the Inner Child and Cycle Breaker Collective, Dr. Deniz helps survivors transform trauma into truth, embodiment, and self-trust. Don't we want to do that? Yes. Her integrative approach, shaped by her own healing journey, uses somatic and parts work to clear trauma's residue so the authentic self can emerge. This is definitely what we are all about. As both clinician and survivor, she illuminates how family and collective systems perpetuate silence and generational harm, blending clinical insight with lived wisdom to unite the science of trauma with the body's sacred intelligence. I mean, you all just take that in. Your body's sacred intelligence, the wisdom that you already know. So we're just tapping into what you know. Her work, which has reached millions online, help survivors name the unspeakable and reconnect with their inner light, viewing trauma not just as something to heal from, but as a portal back to truth and remembrance. I love it. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful and so appreciative of your transparency to be willing to not only share kind of like the science and knowledge that you learned, but what you know, uncovered, discovered from your own journey. And so we would love to explore and talk about your homecoming journey. And one of the themes that you help people with is being a cycle breaker. So can you first tell us, what does it mean to be a cycle breaker?
A cycle breaker is someone who often carries a lot of pain from the family and the lineage, but also the person who tends to be a truth teller in the family, who might question things and wonder, why do we do things this way?
Yeah.
And they start to take a step back and see where there's dysfunction, where there's patterns that have kind of been unchecked and just normalized, and decide that they want to do things differently. Not to abandon or reject the family, but to actually repair and heal connection so that family relationships and connection can be healthier moving forward.
That's such an important distinction, because I think when we do things differently, people can take it as a judgment or a rejection, as opposed to like, let me build on what we have, right? That I can honor, respect, appreciate, and also evolve.
Yes.
And so what were some of the cycles you needed to break?
Ooh.
You're like, how long do we have?
How long do we have today? You know, I think certainly cycles around poor communication, whether it was under-communicating and being avoidant, or reactive and explosive communication. And there's so many other things trickle down from there. But wrapped up in that is patterns of silence and normalizing different types of harm through culture, through family stories. Other cycles that I am breaking is my relationship to my body and that's tied up in my abuse. That has roots in generations that came before me as well. So all of those together sort of mesh together to create sort of this perfect storm of what can, at least in my family, what did get passed down and unexamined. And just sort of freely handed down to the next generation.
So necessary. Let's take those two, words and body. Right? Isn't that a whole universe? If I could heal my relationship with my words and with my body, and that's, how that's freedom, right? That's what freedom looks like and feels like. So when you were silent, you mentioned a part of it is from the abuse, but you also mentioned a part was from culture. So talk to us about how culture was silencing.
I think, depending on which side of the family I'm talking about, because I come from a multicultural family, there were, just messages that were implied about what you do and you don't speak about. Even if something was normalized and there's that little voice and you're going, I wonder if this is normal. Do other families do this? As a child, there was an awareness. It was unspoken, but there are things we don't talk about outside the family, or we don't question, or you get in trouble or punished. So I think the cultural piece was that, and it's interesting, in my family, one side of the family was the explosive side and one was the very silent, avoidant. So words looked quite different depending on which side of the family I was connected to, more connected to.
And did you find yourself embodying both of those? Or where did you tend to?
I would say I took on more of the avoidance and the silence, especially, I one of two girls in the family, I'm the youngest. There's some big personalities in my family. And, came into the world with more of like that observer perspective and was very aware that not only was there not space for me, that there wasn't always interest, and that even if I stuck a toe out, it would sort of get stepped on and turned back to the other folks in the family. Aside from what came as a result of the abuse that I experienced were, all the layers of being harmed, threatened, outright being told not to talk about certain things. So I did what every child does to survive, is I locked it up so far out of awareness that, I think my healing journey is a little different, especially than many psychologists in the field who have this great sense of their history, go through healing a lot earlier. I had done some of that, but my sexual abuse in childhood was not something that I was able to return to until actually just a couple years ago. With such a sense that all of that I had silenced and closed up was really just waiting for me.
Yes. What allowed it a couple years ago to come forward?
I think the sense that I had my own safe family unit that I had developed. My husband and my two boys, that I have a really peaceful space. And, being in this field, you garner your own resources aside from your own healing work and therapy. But I really believe that there was a younger part of me leading that the entire way to gather up resources I wouldn't have been able to access otherwise.
Oh, how beautiful for you, and the gift of a safe family, safe people, to be able to, as you just did, breathe, right? It does. It immediately frees up, that little girl who was holding it together.
Absolutely.
And so when you began to use your voice, what happened?
Lots of earthquakes. Lots of earthquakes all around. I mean, it was an earthquake for me because what I began to uncover in so many ways completely changed my view of my own childhood. My body had done such a beautiful job for me, and I can say that now, really brilliant, holding on to the warm and loving memories and really splitting everything else off. And then it was sort of, aftershocks from there. It was within me and then within my immediate family unit with my husband, and bringing these things to light. And it's rippled out to the broader family now. But, You know, it's sort of that sense that you can't grow something new in a forest unless you burn it all down. And it's really painful to be the person who burns it all down, because bringing these things to light is not easy. It wasn't easy for me. It's not easy for the family to hear and be the one to encourage people to confront things that for generations have not been examined.
Thank you for your courage in doing that and modeling, you know, even as you tell it, the fullness of the story, that there were like beautiful memories and good things which your mind had focused in on, and then the untold stories of the family, which deserved and needed breathing room to be able to speak about those. Speaking of the body,
Yes.
as you started to speak truth, what did you notice in your body?
I noticed that I was a lot more disconnected than I ever thought I was. I danced growing up. I did a lot of my training. I did a lot of my training in mindfulness-based work, and you know, I think so much of that saved me in a lot of ways, kept me regulated in ways I couldn't understand at the time. But I was so much more disconnected from a true felt sense of what my body was holding. And what I discovered when I reconnected to it was this sacred intelligence. You know, it's so different to learn a modality that's body-based, but to have the lived experience where the way my body, which I know is not how everyone's journey is, but my body literally held on to procedural memories of what had happened to me. And it was painful but beautiful in so many ways. It was almost like this time capsule that had just been untouched and waiting till I was safe enough and equipped enough. And it not only led me to understanding what had happened to me, it also led me to clearing a lot of what had been stuck inside my body and causing things like back issues and just chronic tension, and you know, that just feeling of dysregulation that you have inside.
Yes. Oh, thank you for naming those, because I think sometimes we're aware of the symptom but not the cause. Right? So, you know, the backache and the tightness, and the gift of dance. As you said, even when you didn't have the words for what happened, being able to move your body, claim your body to some degree, and express, I do believe it's a lifesaver. And so, you know, thinking about the body and being an abuse survivor, can you talk some, if you're comfortable, about the cycle breaking as it related to intimacy?
Cycle breaking in terms of what sort of happened to the body, and then reclaiming the body as my own, as a place where every person's power sits. And I've realized, you know, this goes beyond psychology, but I've realized there's so much wisdom and power that we have seemingly been taught to disconnect from. So much inner wisdom, so much self-trust, that you know, we outsource, and I see this even in my own family, but like outsourcing your own knowledge and self-trust and wisdom and validation even of your own experience. So for me, as I broke those cycles, what also emerged was not just a reconnection with my body, but a reconnection with my power, sort of right in the solar plexus, with my intuition and gut feelings, and these sort of energetic gifts that kind of emerged as part of my somatic healing.
And when you name that, I think it makes sense. The reason offenders, abusers, oppressors do what they do is to take us out of our power. Right? And so I love that then the reclamation and the healing has to be a tapping back into it. That empowerment is a part of it. And so what has it been like to discover your power?
We're blessed. it still there? Is it still looking for me? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some parts of it have been terrifying and overwhelming because I think the way that emerges looks different person to person, but nobody prepared me that more was going to come from that. Obviously, there's power just in using my voice, but that inner wisdom, that sort of soul remembrance that emerged was nothing I was taught in grad school. That wasn't at the end of the chapter. So it's been quite a journey, a really beautiful journey, I will say. As I've allowed myself to surrender to it and lean into it, it's, I mean, homecoming truly is the word that I feel home. I feel aligned with myself. Yeah. And my husband has asked me, knowing what you know now, would you go back and do this all over again? It's been so hard on you and disrupting things in your family. And I said, not a day goes by that I would change my mind. Beautiful. That sense of wholeness, I think, when you find your power, it's like calling all those pieces of yourself home again. Yes. And to not feel like a fragmented self that is ungrounded, doesn't feel whole. It just feels like things sort of went and that power feels like so much light. Yeah. And there does feel a responsibility with that. Yeah. In so many ways, especially someone in a healing profession. But experiencing what I experienced, you can see it. I see it differently in my own clients now, even. Yeah. You can see those glimmers of light when those pieces of them start to get reintegrated and come back home, and you can feel the power, even just energetically and emotionally.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. And I know those who are listening are like, yes, that's what I want. So, what is an exercise that you do with clients to help them to reclaim their power?
That's a great question. So I wouldn't say that there's a specific exercise I do targeted at that, but more about looking at what's protecting it. What's standing in the way.
What's protecting what?
The power. Because for survivors, I think most of us learn in some capacity that we actually have to protect what's light and bright inside of us, especially for folks who emotionally, psychologically, energetically sort of pull from that. And it's incredible how we learn to protect ourselves. Right? Sort of like shove it down, tuck it away. So I had a teacher recently, a mentor, share with me a reminder that when you think something is in the way, it is the way. And I think so much about how our bodies protect us, our protector parts, is what shows up when we try to feel into our power. Is it a self-critical voice? Is it your body bracing or checking out? Is it a voice that is carrying all the fear about what will happen if you're seen in some capacity? So I would say you can just drop in and notice what happens inside of you when you even think about accessing your power. Notice what your body gives you, whether it's a thought, an emotion, a sensation, because that's sort of the language your body is using to show you the pathway of what needs your care and attention in order for you to access what's underneath.
I love that. I love that. Noticing what's in the way. And that circles me back to your earlier comment of thinking you were freer than you were before you got this revelation. So I think for those who are wondering, like, am I there? I think I'm there. Like, what may be some indicators that you're living in your power or your voice or your body, or some signs that perhaps you're not all the way there?
Yeah. I love this question because I don't think it is black and white that we're there or we're not there. It's, for me, what's been helpful is thinking about all this work as a relationship with my body, a relationship with my younger parts, with all the parts of me that protect me. So, a relationship is ongoing. I don't think any of us, no matter how long we've been doing this work, arrive there. So just like you have to nurture a friendship, we have to nurture the relationship we have with those parts of our body. So even if it's just one part of yourself that you can access, that's a beautiful start. And I really believe that the body's only going to give us what we can handle at the time.
Yeah.
So go where there's an opening. We don't need to look for something. It will show itself when it's ready to be addressed. And then once you've started to do that work, how do you know you're deepening it or continuing it is, often what's being held in the body is our younger parts. And I think about this, I have 2 little kids. If I want to hear about what happened at school that day, I can't always just go right in there and be like, tell me about what happened with your friend. Or even if it's not my child, I have to make them feel safe enough. I might have to sit and play with them for a little bit.
That's right.
Or just be in the space and show that I'm trusting and safe.
Right.
And your parts function the same way. So even if you're connected into your body, it's like the more you show your body that you're safe, you're trustworthy, you're hearing them, you're witnessing with compassion, more will continue to emerge.
I love that, starting with that reminder of it's an ongoing process instead of like, oh, I did that. Like, I've already worked on myself. It's, that continuous deepening. And I love the reminder of not having to choose or dig, just noticing what comes, what comes to the surface. So a part of our process is often a poem. So I want to read one. This is a brief writing from Jaya John and from the book Fragrance After Rain. Imagine if you celebrated and loved yourself all day, every day. How much pain would be healed? How much bliss would grow in you? Nothing is stopping you, dear one. Party hard in the house of your soul. For some souls, the house party never ends. Dance, sing, laugh, lose your bindings. This worldly thing can be crazy. Be crazier. Be your own champion. Plant praise, harvest peace. So I want to ask, what of that resonates with you or stirred up or connected with you?
There was a line in there, I'm not going to get it right, but it was, you mentioned something about the soul. Party hard in the house of your soul.
Party hard in the house of your soul.
That to me just spoke to all those parts, waiting to come home, waiting to have that safety. And it's like when we start allowing all those shadowy parts of us to come back and into focus and embrace them with warmth, like what registers in the soul that we have sort of found our way back to our essence.
Yes.
And as a trauma survivor, that idea that I think so many of us struggle with, feeling like our soul or essence gets taken or shattered, but it's always there.
Yes.
So that sense of like just partying hard and who you are and in that soul space is so beautiful.
I love that. Versus, that other way of being is the tiptoeing, right? It's not partying hard. It's the observation and the censoring and the self-erasure. Like all of that is the opposite of partying hard.
And I think that those are all the pieces that cycle breakers often find themselves unlearning, despite what the circumstances are, different, each person, each family, but all those pieces that are so much about us trying to belong to a community or to a family. And this feels like belonging to self in so many ways.
Yes. Yeah, that we belong to ourselves. And I think a final question would be around the parenting. What's it like trying to teach this to your boys?
Depends on the day.
Right, I'm sure.
Yeah, humbling. For sure humbling. I think anytime you become a parent, something I actually just posted recently about is really this difference between being imperfect and unsafe. And so much compassion and gratitude to parents who are human beings and we are all imperfect. So that has been beautiful to embrace that. But I think some of the things that feel important for me as a cycle breaker doing this work that I've been teaching my boys is to trust their inner voice.
Yeah.
Which is something boys are not often taught to even be aware that they have one. So much around body safety and consent and what's okay and using their voice, which is a really hard one as a parent because sometimes you're like, I want you to use your voice out there. Over there. Not here. I just want you to get your shoes on and brush your teeth. But I mean, that's part of what comes with the territory is giving them permission to push back, but also teaching them when it's the right time to negotiate or push or be assertive, but instilling in them that power, that their voice matters, their needs matter, has, you know, I certainly don't get it right every day, but it's really beautiful to watch them. They're 5 and 7 now, you know, learn to navigate that in home, between each other, and at school.
That's so wonderful. And I think such a relief for parents too to hear about, you know, it's going to be an imperfect, we're not calling for perfection, but to be intentional, right? And also that we can shift, like I'm intentional in one and then I'm seeing like, is that working? Or maybe not so much, or not today. So we're going to like circle back. Thank you for being a cycle breaker and coming to help us learn about this journey.
Thank you so much.
I invite your soul to tell your heart, mind, body, and spirit, welcome home.
Got the joy, 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 joy.